On the news, FEC approves 10% youth and women quota for appointment. CBN raises interest rate to 24.75%. And Ondo lawmakers endorse Lucky Ayedatiwa. Many thanks for joining us on News Now. I'm Tamilore Akinkwole. The Kaduna State Governor Ubasani and his wife have received a rescued abducted student of the Leah School at the government house in the state. The state government, while disclosing the release of the school children on Sunday, said the Nigerian military rescued the victims in collaboration with local authorities from neighboring Zamfara state. This next report has more details. With a collective sigh of relief, one by one, the 137 students from the Local Education Authority primary and secondary school in Kuriga community alighted from the bus that brought them to the meeting with the governor. Each step they took towards the waiting arms of the governor of Kaduna State and his wife symbolized a triumph of resilience over adversity. For 2 long weeks and 3 agonizing days, they were held captive, with the defense minister revealing the presence of informants among their own community, serving as silent allies to the terrorists, hindering efforts to secure their timely release. The visibly elated governor thanked the security agencies for rescuing the school children safely, and in response to the allegations of informants collaborating with bandits, the governor issued a stern warning, declaring that any informant discovered within the state would face the full force of justice.
I had a meeting with traditional rulers, local government chairmen, members of the state assemblies, to be vigilant and ensure that anybody that we identify as an informant or anybody of bad character in our community, the traditional rulers should quickly report to the security agencies, because we are ready and willing to protect the lives and properties of our people.
Providing an update on the operation that led to the rescue of the children, the general officer commanding of the troops revealed that tragically, one teacher among those kidnapped lost his life before the successful rescue operation was executed.
The breakdown of the figure of the rescued children shows that there are 76 females and 61 males, which gives us a total of 137 altogether, of course excluding the teacher that we lost while in captivity.
There have been allegations that ransom was paid to rescue the release of the school children, but the government has strongly denied that.
No ransom was paid. We are very grateful to the Federal Executive Council and Mr. President. Are very grateful to especially the National Security Advisor, the service chiefs, and all security agents who participated diligently in ensuring that these kidnapped children are reunited with their families.
Security experts say the latest incident of mass adoption calls for proactive security measures to prevent the reoccurrence of such harrowing incidents.
We need to dominate the ungoverned spaces, the forested parts, the mountainous parts, deny these threat bad elements the ability to operate in those locations. When President Tinubu met with the governors in February, he urged them to strengthen the forest guards that they have. I think we need to go a bit further than that. I think there is a need for the federal government to create a framework for addressing banditry, so that all the states can tie into that framework and we can achieve what is being bandied as the all of society and all of government approach in managing this security challenge.
The government now plans to reunite the children with their parents, but it remains to be seen how much impact this incident has had on these innocent children's quest for education. Tamilore Akinkwole, TV360, Lagos. Following mounting calls for youth inclusion in government, the Federal Executive Council has finally given in to the demand by approving the institutionalization of a 10% youth quota in all government appointments and equitable young women representation. The Minister of Youth, Jamila Ibrahim, said the quota would encourage young people to participate in decision-making processes of governance and civic engagement. This was part of the outcome of the Federal Executive Council meeting held at the Presidential Villa in Abuja on Monday. Our correspondent, Sydney Okafor, has more on the story.
The decision on more youth and women representation in government will no doubt come as good news for those who had for long advocated increased youth and women involvement in governance. The Minister of Youth Affairs also disclosed the approval for the restructuring and institutionalization of Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, which has been revamped to establish the Nigerian Youth Fund.
This will go a long way to address the long marginalization and exclusion of young people in decision making, and will also go a long way to encourage young people to participate in decision-making processes and in civic engagements. This will in turn lead to young people contributing tremendously to national development agenda. Then I'm also pleased to announce the second council approval to restructure and institutionalize the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. This is a fund that was approved in 2020, and on assumption of office of this administration, we commissioned a technical committee to review this fund and restructure it with the aim of institutionalizing it through a legal framework.
Another significant outcome of the FEC meeting is the approval for the creation of the Renew Hope Infrastructure Fund. The chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, Zach Adedeji, says fund's primary objective is to tackle the significant infrastructure deficit estimated at over $858 billion, which has hindered national progress.
It aims for inclusive progress, leaving no community behind. And this is expanding the initial Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund that we have. And this, our Renew Hope Infrastructure Development Fund, unifies efforts, streamlining project delivery for maximum impact. It accelerates infrastructure development, sparking economic dynamism nationwide.
Addressing concerns of potential investors, Adedeji assured that the fund's innovative structure would provide a secure investment environment, fostering economic growth and connectivity across various sectors.
It is also having as part of goals to execute strategic and meticulously choosing national infrastructure across several key sectors, like coastal road, the rail that we want to do, both southern and eastern rail, agriculture spanning from irrigation, storage, logistics, and cold chain and food security, ports, and our airports, and also to guarantee Nigeria that we secure most advantageous arrangement in financing all these ones.
The FEC also approved the construction of the Buruku Bridge across the Katsina-Ala River in Benue State, valued at over 83.7 billion naira, but stepped down the road construction project from Biu-Kagangaya to the border of Niger Republic. Sydney Okafor, TV360, Lagos.
The Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, has announced yet another increase in the benchmark interest rate by 200 basis points to 24.75%. CBN Governor Yemi Cardoso announced the new rate following the second MPC meeting of his tenure in Abuja, marking the second rate hike by the current committee. Cardoso also disclosed that the cash reserve ratio CRR for deposit money banks remains unchanged at 45%, while the CRR for merchant banks have been adjusted from 10% to 14%. Additionally, the liquidity ratio has been retained at 30%.
The considerations of the committee at this meeting focused on the current inflationary pressures and the need to anchor inflation expectations as well as ensure sustained exchange rate stability. These considerations underscore the importance of the CBN's commitment to the price stability mandate and the need to urgently bring inflation under control to ensure that purchasing power of ordinary Nigerians is restored in the short to medium term. Members noted the continued rise in headline inflation, driven largely by food prices because of supply shortages and high costs of logistics and distribution. The committee, therefore, was of the view that addressing food insecurity is key to containing current inflationary pressures. On this note, members commended the ongoing efforts of the federal government towards addressing food insecurity. Some of these measures include the provision of various palliatives, release of grains from the strategic reserves, distribution of seeds and fertilizers, as well as farm implements for dry season farming.
Now, earlier on, I spoke with economist Akin Ogushola on the MPC's decision to hike the benchmark interest rate. And I began by asking them the potential impact this latest hike could have on access to credit, especially for manufacturers and other business people in the country.
I believe that this increase in interest rates will have a lot of impact on the businesses in Nigeria, the manufacturing sector. It's going to hamper the cost of running the business, and it's going to be a lot of problem for them. Scarcity of fund, because CBN is trying to tighten the economy because they feel that there's too much money in circulation chasing few goods. So CBN is tightening the economy because they want to withdraw part of the money from circulation in order to curb the inflation. The inflation has continued to, rise steadily every month, and the inflation needs to be curbed. So CBN is tightening this economy by increasing the interest rates. And looking at that, it will discourage people from borrowing in order to finance their business because they have to pay more interest, on borrowing to finance their business. And we know that a lot of business survive actually on borrowings. So it's actually a negative impact on businesses, especially manufacturing businesses in Nigeria.
Now, with this being the second rate hike by this current committee, what does it indicate about the committee's stance on inflation and economic stability?
The new committee, the MPC committee, is meeting for the second time. And I think the chairman of this committee, who happens to be the CBN governor, has taken the economy at heart. Is actually working so hard to fix the economy of the country, especially on its own part, which is the monetary policy part. Turning out policies that will stabilize inflation, that will stabilize the exchange rates, that will stabilize the inflation rate. Because with all these rates, continuing to go up, the economy is going to might not be interested in investing in such economy that is not stable. There's no stability. So the CBN and this policy committee are actually working so hard. It's the same template that they're actually working with, the same template that is being used all over the world. When inflation rate goes up, you're expected to tighten the economy a little in order to slow down the economy so that we don't have too much money in circulation chasing few goods. So I think the committee is actually working so hard to see how to stabilize the exchange rate, the interest rate, inflation rate, the unemployment rate, the monetary policy rate needs to be stabilized.
And that was economist Akin Ogoshola speaking on the latest increase in interest rate to 24.75. Now moving on to political matters, a group comprising no fewer than 15 members of Ondo State House of Assembly has thrown its weight behind the incumbent Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa for the All Progressive Congress ticket in the upcoming governorship primary of the party. Led by Speaker Olamide Oladiji, the lawmaker cited Governor Ayedatiwa's commendable continuation of the legacies of the late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu as their basis for the support. Despite Ayedatiwa's relatively short term in office, they expressed confidence in his leadership and commitment to the state's progress. The endorsement comes on the heels of recent political turbulence within the State Assembly, including a vote of no confidence against Speaker Oladiji. The rift emerged after the Speaker openly pledged to support Ayedatiwa, triggering discontent among certain members. Meanwhile, one of the APC governorship aspirant, Paul Akintelure, has died few days after raising an alarm about threat to his life. Now joining me to discuss this further is Jide Ojo, political affairs analyst. Thank you for speaking with us. Now, what implication does the endorsement of Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa by 15 members of the State House of Assembly have for the upcoming APC primaries and the November 2024 governorship election?
I think the optics are good for Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa, and it seems he may be twice lucky or third time lucky, because he has been lucky to be acting governor after being deputy governor, acting governor, then governor. And he may retain his seat if the State Assembly decides to put his weight behind him in the oncoming party primary. Don't forget, APC has only 22 members in the 26-member Ondo State House of Assembly. So if 15 out of 22 is backing one individual, it then means that he has been able to lobby them to his side. However, it's too early in the day to say he's home and dry, because I don't know yet whether it will be direct primary or indirect primary. Don't forget, people like Senator Jimo Ibrahim is in the race. I learned the former national legal advisor for PDP who has crossed over to APC, Olushola Oke, is also in the race. One of the people in the race, as you announced, just died, was it yesterday or late this morning? So you never can tell. 24 hours is a long time in politics. But I have said on this platform that when you have a governor who controls billions of naira in budget, he can do wonders. And it will seem like the odds is in favor of Ayedatiwa.
Now, sorry to cut you short, Mr. Jide Ojo. You were saying something about Akintelure's death. Now, are there any indications or suspicion surrounding the circumstances of his death, giving us prior concerns about threat to his life?
I'm not a medical doctor, and it will take an autopsy to establish the cause of his death. So if the family decides to have an autopsy, maybe we'll know exactly what the cause of his death is. More so that he has raised an alarm earlier on that there are threats to his life. But that's the nature and character of politics in Nigeria. I just pray that God in his infinite mercy will repose his soul and grant his family fortitude to bear the irreplaceable loss. But they have the option of an autopsy to establish the veracity of what actually killed him.
Jide Ojo, political affairs analyst, thank you for your time. We'll take a breather here, but coming up in the news, U.S. bridge collapse after cargo ship collision. Details of this story after this break. Welcome back now. A quick recap of our headline stories. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, have announced a notable increase in the benchmark interest rate by 200 basis points to 24.75%. CBN Governor Yemi Cardoso disclosed that the cash reserve ratio CRR for deposit money banks remain unchanged at 45%, while the CRR for merchant banks have been adjusted from 10% to 14%. Additionally, the liquidity ratio has been retained at 30%. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Lime's World TV and AVO TV, or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we are at TV360 Online. Let's now join Okpayemi Owoseni for the latest on business. Okpayemi, keep us up to speed.
Well, Tamilore, the federal government says it will establish a compressed natural gas CNG park in the Ajaokuta Steel Company in Kogi State. The Minister of Steel Development, Shaibu Audu, disclosed this in a statement by Special Assistant on Media, Lizzie Okoji, on Monday in Abuja. The CNG is mainly composed of methane and primarily used as a substitute fuel for powering vehicles. Audu commended the Nigerian Army for introducing CNG vehicles for its operations under the Auto Switch Kickoff pilot program, which is driven by the PCNGI. He urged other organizations to adopt the technology due to its cost effectiveness and to promote a sustainable and healthy environment. We'll go on a short break and be back with Stock Market Report. Nigeria equities market closed in the red zone on Tuesday again, reducing by 0.18%, negatively reacting to another rate hike by the Monetary Policy Committee (MPC) of the CBN. Rising from its two-day meeting, the MPC raised the monetary policy rate (MPR) to 24.75%, representing 200 basis point increase, with the market cap at 58.7 trillion naira. Now, in the aggregate, 120 NGS-listed equities participated in today's trading, ending with 27 gainers and 24 losers. On the losing side, UPDC came out first with 1 naira 37 kobo per share, followed closely by UPDC, which closed at 21 naira 90 kobo per share. Now, at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange (NGX), a total of 374 million volumes of shares were exchanged in 8,689 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 11 billion were traded. Now, a switch to our select global stock to see how they are doing on the second week day of trading. Well, Treasury yields edge higher in early U.S. trading, leaving the UK FTSE and US Dow Jones in the bull, as you can see from the screen behind me, at 0.21% and 0.28%. But the reverse is the case, however, for Japan's Nikkei, as it maintained a southward movement and ended in the bears at 0.040%. Well, that's it on both business and stock market reports. Back to you, Tamilore, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Okpayemi. Now, on the global scene, a container ship smashed into a 4-lane bridge in the U.S. port of Baltimore in darkness on Tuesday, causing it to collapse and sending cars and people plunging into the river below. The CCTV footage shows what appears to be a container ship hitting the footing of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, sending it plunging into the PepsiCo River, followed by a greater part of the massive structure. Rescuers pulled out 2 survivors, one in a very serious condition, and are still searching for more in the river after huge spans of the bridge crumpled into the water. A Baltimore Police Department spokesman said at least 7 vehicles plunged into the river but could not give an exact figure. And up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
The president of Actors Guild of Nigeria, Emeka Rollas, has slammed Nigerians spreading death rumor of actor Zach Orji. The AGM president, while calling against such a trend, insisted that the Nollywood actor Zach Orji is not dead. The rumor was circulated on social media on Tuesday morning, only a few days after another veteran actor, Amechi Mwanago, passed away due to kidney failure. The Department of Homeland Security on Monday raided multiple homes belonging to famous American singer Sean Diddy Combs. The raid followed several lawsuits over accusations including physical abuse, sexual assault, and sex trafficking. Recall that Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie sued him for alleged physical and sexual abuses in mid-November. 3 other women have also come forward with rape allegations against Diddy. A law enforcement official speaking on the condition of anonymity confirmed that the searches were part of a sex trafficking investigation. And that's it on entertainment news on News Now. Joy Ochejim, TV 360, Lagos.
And finally on sport, English Premier League giants Chelsea are preparing to make a €77 million bid to secure the transfer of Napoli striker Victor Osimhen in the summer. The Blues are set to launch the bid to acquire the service of the Nigerian striker at the end of the 2023/2024 football season. The Nigeria international recently signed a contract extension until June 2026, and the new deal includes a release clause of €130 million with Napoli. And that ends our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tamlore Akinkwale. I'll see you again next time.